we are now moving on to chapter 16, cumulative frequency. This is the last unit in the IGCSE book. So it's back to a graphing unit, and what we will look at specifically is going to be using cumulative frequency to find something out. So in the example that we have here, they want us to draw a cumulative frequency diagram using this information that they give you. So cumulative frequency is going to mean that it's added up as you go. So at the end, if you have a test, a cumulative test, it will not just cover the one unit, it will cover all of the units. So it'll be a sum of things. So if we look at it, we will have to add a column for cumulative frequency. So I'll show you how to figure that out. So for that, we can use a different color here as well to do that. For this one, it's going to be easy. So this is looking at the question of how long it takes students to solve a puzzle. So we have the time taken, the students is in seconds, and this is how many of them have completed the puzzle in that time. So between 0 and 5 seconds, 2 students completed the puzzle. So total, 2 people have finished the puzzle at this point. Between 5 and 10 seconds, 9 people had finished the puzzle. But if you count also these people in, we would say 9 plus 2 is going to be 11 students total had finished the puzzle in 10 seconds or less. So we kind of do the same thing. 9 plus 11 is 20. 8 plus 20 is 28. 28 plus 3 is 31. And 1 plus 31 is 32. This value on the bottom of the table will always tell you how many students or how many whatever it is that you're talking about total you have. So in this case, we know 32 students solved the puzzle. So what we want to do now is we want to plot these points. The way that you plot the points is you use the upper bound value. So this is going to be 5 and 2. When you do these, you always want to have cumulative frequency on the y-axis. So we'll look and see my values. So we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So I spread those out a little bit and labeled my axis as time. You do need to label the axes. And then we have between 2 and 32. So I counted a little bit funny, but I did 2 and then I counted by 4s to give some space. So we want to plot these points. And what we always have in this is the point 0, 0, because no students finished the puzzle in no seconds. So that's always going to be a point, and if you notice, we only have the positive axis. We only have quadrant 1, because we can't have a negative time and we can't have a negative amount of students. So when we look at this, we begin with this. In 5 seconds, 2 students finished it. So I go to 5 seconds and 2 students, and I put a point on that. Then we look at the next one, 10, 11. So we have 10, 11, so it's 12, so it would be halfway. We have point 15, 20. We have 20, 28. I lost count here, 20, 28. Oh, and I didn't do it high enough. 25, 31. So we'll keep this going. So this is 34. So 25, 31. So that's going to be in between. And 30, 32. Now, when you do these cumulative frequency diagrams, we will do a connection between them. You should always get an S shape. If you don't get somewhat of an S shape, then you might want to check the points. So again, we want to do as good as we can about making a smooth line, a single line through all of the points. You can see, looks a little something like that. So it's got an S kind of shape. It's subtle, but it's an S. It is important to do the best line you can because you're going to use this graph to solve questions. So again, like when we did the gradients and when we found information on the other unit, you need to do an accurate job. Do not use a ruler to connect the points. It's got to be a smooth curve when you do it. So then they'll ask you some questions. So in this case, we have a few questions. How many students completed the puzzle in 12 seconds? Okay, so what we want to do is we go to 12 seconds, That's going to be, this is 12.5, so it's just about that point. So you want to actually, I could have done a better job about doing my axis on the bottom, my x-axis. So we want to go to 12 seconds, and we want to go up until we hit my line. So this is again 12.5. So this is best drawn with a ruler. And then we want to, once you hit the line, this is a little bit off here. I should really be using a ruler. Do not follow my example. Okay, and then from this point we want to go to the axis, because the question is saying how many students. That's frequency, how many students. So I have, in this case, it hit at 15. I think the book, yes, it's amazing. Okay, so 15 students. So again, we went to 12 seconds, hit the line, and then went to the other axis to find out how many. Again, this is your time, this is how many, so just double check you're answering the question. In this case, it says how many students completed the puzzle in more than 18 seconds. So we want to find, well, how many completed it in 18 seconds. So again, we want to find this. This is 17.5. So we'll go close to this line and up until we hit it. And then we want to go to my axis. And let's see, 24, this looks like 25. And the book they're telling us 26. It's pretty close. We'll go with like 25. So we have a total. That's not the answer, is it though? That's just how many students completed it in less than 18 seconds. So really, we want to know how many completed it in more than that. So we take the total, again, that's going to be this value, 32, and subtract it from 25. So the book actually uses 26, but that's okay. So if we do 32 minus 25, we have 7 students. Is that right? Yeah. 7 students completed it in more than 18 seconds. So again, if they ask you about how many students finished it, we want to be in this time, we begin with the time, and then we have to have our answer is how many students. So we look at the students. This question is asking us the opposite. It says, how many students completed in the puzzle in the time by which 28 students had solved the puzzle? So they're giving us the students, 28 students, and they want to know the time. So we want to go to 28. Again, yeah, I shouldn't have done this, my counting this way, it makes it difficult. This is 27.5, so we'll go to 28. And we want to go, oops, 28 students. I'm sorry, I'm kind of going from the axis now. We go to 28 students. We go to the line, and then down. This one worked out well. And there it says we have 20. The time by which 28 students had finished this one. From 28 students down to the time, and we came up with right on 20 seconds. So at the 20-second point, 28 students had finished the test. So in sum, what you want to do is if they give you a table, which they'll have to give you a table if they want you to draw the graph, you have to add this column. You have to add the cumulative frequency. We take the cumulative frequency, that's going to be always the y-axis, then the time will be the x-axis, and you use the uppermost point for the x, and then the y is the cumulative frequency. And then if they ask you a question about in how much time do the students complete it, you always begin by what they give you. The time, we began this way and went over, and the students, we began at the frequency and went down to the time. So just double check that you're actually answering the question that they're asking, okay?